What's going on, fellow backpackers? My name is Dan, and today I am talking about my favorite gear companies. Now, I'm not talking about my favorite products, I'm talking about my favorite companies overall. Which ones am I most loyal to because I think that they make awesome gear. Now, full disclosure, I am not sponsored by any of these companies. If you saw my video a couple weeks ago, you'll know that I am not a big fan of sponsorships. But no sponsorships. I have never received any free gear from these companies. I am not an employee of these companies or affiliated with them in any way. So all these companies, I have just given them way more money than I care to admit, and am a loyal, paying customer. Okay, let's dive in. So in no particular order, the first company that I am very, very loyal to is Tarp Tent. Now, I have two tents from Tarp Tent. I have the one-person Tarp Tent Pro Trail, which is the very first backpacking tent that I've ever used. And I also have the two-person Stratospire 2, which you can actually fold out the bathtub floor to just fit 3 people, which is quite cool. So my wife now uses the one-person Pro Trail because I have since gotten into hammock camping, so I don't use tents too much anymore. But the two-person Stratospire that can fold out to be 3 people will be really nice once we eventually start taking my daughter backpacking. Now, Tarp Tent only makes tents. They don't also make packs and sleeping bags and all this other stuff. They just focus on tents. And you can really tell because the designs, in my opinion, are really well thought out, much more so than many other companies. I really like how their owner, Henry Shires, focuses on not trying to sacrifice a lot of really helpful features that can give you good space and easy setup and good storm worthiness and so on and so forth, just in order to save a few ounces. The quality has also been fantastic. I have never had any issues with them leaking or threads coming loose or anything like that. I believe they're sewn in Seattle, and they must take a lot of pride in their work because, again, I think quality is absolutely impeccable. All right, number 2 on my list is a really popular one, and that is Darn Tough socks. I am so loyal to Darn Tough socks that I have literally never tried a different type of sock on the trail. In fact, I've never even tried a different type of Darn Tough sock on the trail. I think this one is the Micro Crew Light or something, not quite sure. But the reason why I have never tried any other sock is because I'm actually afraid to. I have never received a single blister while I've been hiking using these socks. So I just don't want to mess with a good thing. So I will always continue to use these incredibly awesome socks. But in addition to being comfortable, they are also darn tough. They are very durable. I have had most of my socks for years, and they really do stand by their lifetime warranty. I actually got to take advantage of that, I don't know, last year sometime, when I had a couple of holes in the ankle of one of my socks, and I sent them back. They gave me a credit for some new socks, and I got some new socks for free, or kind of free. You do have to pay for the shipping to send them back and also the shipping to have the new ones sent to you, but, you know, close enough. I still think that's pretty awesome that a company will stand by socks, which really, you know, for the most part are kind of disposable items. No sock lasts forever, but the fact that they stand by that with a lifetime warranty is pretty incredible in my opinion. Okay, well, sticking with the theme of footwear, the next thing on my list are ultra trail runners. I finally made the switch to trail runners about a year or 2 ago, and I will never ever go back to hiking boots. And ultra specifically, I know these are really popular shoes and just overall a very popular brand among hikers, and I totally see why. I love them for all the same reasons that most other hikers like them. I really love the zero drop feature where the heel and the toe is at the exact same level. I love the super wide foot box. It's not only really comfortable, but I think also aids in not giving me blisters while I'm hiking. And overall, they're just a really comfortable, well put together shoe. I will say one downside about them, and this is a common complaint that I've heard, and I do agree with this. overall the quality is not fantastic. These don't really last forever, and they're not supposed to. They're trail runners. They're supposed to be replaced every so often, just like any kind of a running shoe. These are not your, leather-clad, super tough hiking boots that you have had for generations. You're going to have to replace these eventually. But in terms of the quality of Ultra specifically, I have found that, I don't know, I think they could be better. I've seen some rips happen in them. I have had this happen on these Ultras as well as my wife's 4.0s, as well as some road running Ultras that I have, where the tip of the, I don't know what you call this, the front rubber guard thingy is starting to come off. And that happened pretty quickly. And again, it's happened on all 3 Ultras that my family owns. So I think they need to step up their game a little bit on that. But despite all of the complaints that I just mentioned about Ultras, I still will never switch to another shoe. The next company on my list is one of my bigger favorites among my favorites, and that is Enlighten Equipment. I have given Enlighten Equipment so much money over the years, but every single one of those purchases has been totally worth it. So let's see, I have 2 top quilts. I have a 10-degree Revelation. I have a 0-degree Enigma. And I have a 40-degree underquilt. This is the Revolt. I use this for my hammock. I have the very awesome Enlighten Equipment jacket, which I'm forgetting the name of it now. What is this thing called? The Apex something? Maybe it's just the Apex jacket. Yeah, I have the jacket. I have the Stronghold mittens, and I even have an Enlighten Equipment branded spoon. The first thing I bought from all this was the 10-degree Revelation. I was looking for a lighter sleeping bag option, and this quilt totally provided. I think the reason why I love Enlighten Equipment so much is that they just seem to take a lot of pride in their products, and they've also greatly expanded their product line. I've been really happy to see them go from primarily focusing on quilts, which they still do, that's kind of their bread and butter, to branching out into like apparel, like this jacket and these mittens, and they make a lot of other stuff too. And kind of like with Darn Tough, I've just had such a great experience with their products that I don't really want to try anything else. And quality-wise, it has been absolutely fantastic. Now, I've heard of some people say that Enlighten Equipment is kind of like medium as far as like the quality is concerned compared to some other like really high-priced sleeping bag manufacturers, but I'm not quite sure what else you can ask for in terms of quality. The stitching is fantastic. I think the fill for all the quilts and sleeping bags is right on. They are super duper light. They use really high quality fabrics. I can't really come up with a whole lot of negatives about this company. I also love that you can really customize what you want from the temperature ranges, the colors, the lengths and widths, and all this great stuff. You can customize it to suit your own personal preferences. But if you also need to get your gear quicker, they also have quite a big selection of in-stock items that you can buy and have them shipped to you pretty much immediately. I've done that on both this jacket and this Revolt underquilt because I needed them for an upcoming trip, and I just couldn't wait the several weeks it takes to make a custom item, so I got them in stock. So if anyone is thinking about making a switch to either a lighter quilt or looking at some of their apparel options like a really light jacket or something else, I definitely give Enlighten Equipment 2 very big thumbs up. Ugh, this thing's getting hot. Moving on, last but certainly not least, is my sleeping pad company of choice, Exped. Now I feel like Exped is a relatively unknown, or at least not as popular, sleeping pad company, and they actually make a very wide range of products. They are a Swedish company, and they make everything from sleeping pads to tents to packs to some hammock things and a whole bunch of different type of camping accessories. For me specifically, I only bought their sleeping pads, and I absolutely love them. So the 2 pads that I have the Get over here. I have the UL9. This is a winter pad. They don't make this exact model anymore, but it's basically a winter synthetic filled version of their sleeping pads. I have two of these, one for me and one for my wife. And I also have the Exped HL summer pad. I think HL stands for Hyperlight, and I would believe it because this thing only weighs 10.9 ounces. Now there's a few reasons why I really like these pads. Overall, I think the design and construction of them is fantastic. I really like the valve system that they have on these things. I'll try to show you. So they have these valves on them that has a little stopper valve, so when you're filling it up with one of your pumps, which they do supply, the air does not come rushing out. And I had mentioned pumps, so they always include some type of a pump with your sleeping pad, which I'm a huge advocate of. On some of the lighter pads, like this one, they will include a mini pump, which folds down pretty flat, and you can actually just stick it right inside of your pad as you're rolling it up. Very awesome. Or on their larger pads, like some of these winter ones, they will include this schnozzle pump bag. So you can connect this piece to your pad, and then you just fill this up with air and just push the air into your pad. And the cool thing about this is it doubles as a dry sack. So you can put your sleeping bag or anything else you don't want to get wet inside of this. Comfort-wise, most of them are also a little bit thicker than a lot of other pads on the market. So this summer pad is 2.8 inches thick, and this big winter pad is 3.5 inches thick. But you can find really all different types of sleeping pads from them, from super ultralight ones like this to really heavy car camping models and everything in between. Now, comfort-wise, I really had no problem with them. I suppose if you do not like vertical baffles, then you're not going to like these pads, that they only produce sleeping pads with vertical baffles. I personally don't have any problem with vertical baffles. I like them just fine. I think they actually do a really good job of keeping you on the pad if you're a back sleeper, and so you're not slipping off the sides. But even for side sleepers like me, I have had no problem with them whatsoever in terms of comfort. A lot of their pads also have this like kind of interesting texture to them. It's hard to describe. It almost feels kind of soft. It's not fabric. It's TPU or whatever it is that they use on these things. But it just has this like softer feel to it that not only like feels kind of good as you're laying on it, but it also helps to keep you on the pad a little more as opposed to something that's really slippery. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. As always, stick around for some bloopers, and I would really love to hear from all of you about some of your favorite gear companies. Otherwise, thanks for watching and have fun out there. So, whether you're blah, 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 blah. Darn tough, they are quite something or other. Where's my shoe? Aha! Are ultra blah, blah, blah. Nah. I forgot the spoon. No, I'm just trying too hard. This stuff, yeah. What else do I like about him? Ugh, what a mess. I don't want to put all this away. That's all I have to say about that.